Welcome to Game of Roses. This PaceCase.
This is Survivor Clues.
That was my Dark Lord Jeff. Did you like it?
Welcome to that. I'm like slipping into Casey Kasem in my head when I hear him
Who's
rant.
that?
Huh?
Who dat? Okay,
he's one
mind.
Of the most
I know who it is.
Prolific radio hosts, DJs of all time.
The radio clues? You think I listened to the radio?
I don't know.
As an adult?
I don't know. He's a famous person
Kiss
in
FM
media. Oh.
When I was a kid. That's all I remember.
Do you know who Ryan Seacrest is?
Yes.
He was like Ryan Seacrest before Ryan Seacrest.
Okay.
As was Dick Clark. Do you know Dick Clark?
New Year's Eve?
American Bandstand, also radio. You know American Bandstand?
Sorry I didn't go to film school, Clues.
Film school. They didn't teach American Bandstand in film school. All right. We just watched episode 9 of season 48 of Survivor. It was a doozy. So much fantastic play, so much bad play, surprises, everything. This had it all. I absolutely love this episode. It's getting better and better as the season progresses, as all television shows should.
Such a good episode.
So
Shocking.
Let's just jump into this, shall we? Night 15. The first shot we see is a night vision shot of a giant, pulpy arachnid spinning its web in the night. This was not my creature of the week. Can you believe that?
This pulpy arachnid spinning its web. Just like Shaheen over the past few days regarding David was strutting his stuff and made them my creature of the week.
You know what I've noticed about the creatures of Survivor? There's only 4 really. There's bat, spider, bird, and manta ray. That's all we've seen. Where's the fucking lizards? Where's the crabs? Did we see a snake once? I think we did see a serpent. Anyways, those that remain come back to the camp. Mitch hugs Shaheen because he got a vote. Shaheen ITMs that Chrissy went home because she took an early stab at him. We get some Fool edit music playing as Shaheen talks about Chrissy going after the muscles of the team, and he ITMs that he doesn't think it was unanimous in their hearts, but just unanimous on paper, that vote for Chrissy. He thinks there's still some ideological disparity in how people are feeling about that. David then comes to Kamilla and tells her that he floated her name straight to her face. He said this, and she's like, she says, "You're a horrible liar. Don't worry." Basically like, it's okay. I can tell when you're being bad at the game. Kamilla then ITMs that David is dead to her. He says he's playing this honest game and he's being truthful, but he lied straight to her face. She calls him a complete idiot who thinks he's at the Olympic qualifiers instead of playing Survivor.
She once again goes with this narrative that David wants to be in the Olympics as all the biggest physical athletes against each other.
And she says it later too. We'll get to it at Tribal Council, but this idea she keeps floating is basically like, this is not her game. She's not a muscle player. She's like an intellect player. She's a game, like a psychosocial game player. And she's always making that difference in her head. But I think in Survivor, it's like those types of things can attribute to different play styles, certainly, and different strengths and weaknesses and challenges or certain parts of the challenges, certainly. But Survivor seems to be all encompassing. You can lean heavy into one play style, but you kind of have to have all of it, or that one play style has to be so strong that it compensates for a lack in the other styles.
Like your floating play has to be so strong that no one even notices you're there until you're in the end.
Like Star. Star just pops in with like one really funny thing per episode, and that's it. That's the whole game. And it works.
So funny. She's still there. And I'm like, oh my God, next week looks even crazier. I'm like, okay, 4 on 4. The fire is out at the camps, just like all of their spirits. And Mitch says to the big people, "You're more than just," this is Mary. "You're more than just shields." Mary is like the little fish that swims along on the shark and like cleans it. And David once again ITMs he has hesitancy about Kyle and it's scaring him. He should be scared.
Crazy about this is like, he's right. His whole theory about this whole game is like, they're working together. He's correct in all of it. But it proves
thinking there's an idol.
Yeah, that part is wrong. But like, he understands the alliances and who's double crossing who. He understands what's going on in the areas of the game he can't see. He's intuiting this from players' behaviors, which is fantastic. The thing that he fucks up on is his reaction to that. When you can glean secret information in this game about alliances that you're not supposed to know about, you can't just outright say it, which we'll get to it. Day 16. Sunrise, we see the strong six, which is Kyle, David, Joe, Eva, Shaheen, and Mary watching the sunrise, and they're all agreeing they can pick off the other players now. Eva ITMs that Chrissy's vote was tense, but it was unanimous, and it's a better vibe without her. They talk about who's going to go next. Star's name comes up. Mitch's name comes up. They all agree. They trust each other. David says Mary wants Kamilla. Mary agrees. Joe and David say, look, we're taking a back seat, whoever you guys want to vote for. And Mary is like, Kamilla. Kyle is then forced to kind of silently accept this, at least at this moment. Kyle ITMs.
Which was a good move.
Oh, of course, because he went so hard in defense of her in the prior episode. It's like at this, you can't do that twice in a row without having everybody wise to your plan. He did it once, and David caught on, but seemingly no one else. And now he's like, yep, whatever. I guess that'll work. Kyle ITMs that it's David's way or the highway. He says he's pissed that their relationship has fallen apart and he's been riding the middle, and that's starting to not work anymore. So he's got to play. Kyle tells Shaheen that David is trying to come for Shaheen through the Kamilla vote. Kyle ITMs that he's making it personal for Shaheen, and Kyle continues to tell Shaheen that David and Mary are coming for him and that they're doing that through Kamilla. Shaheen then ITMs he's down to go with Kyle to get to Mary. David then notices that Kyle and Shaheen are not there. He's like, they must be out there talking. Where are they? And he seemingly, again, is the only one who's kind of keeping tabs on Kyle and Shaheen through this. He's a good player, like too good for his own good almost.
I mean, they compare it to a Boston Rob, and it is. Like Boston Rob would do this where he would be like, where is every single person? We need to babysit people. A very intense atmosphere. And we see David brings up with Mary the pushback against Kamilla of Kyle, and Eva ITMs, oh, they're paranoid. I trust all my friends. And we hear Shaheen go to David, we good, right? And David's like, are you and Kyle good?
Yeah.
We need to get this boy some milk, because
he's going to get some now.
Yeah. We see, and Kyle says, no, with Chrissy, I was just considering the options. And David's like, it should have been easy. And we see then Kyle ITMs that he has lots of experience dealing with confrontational people, and his new number one has got to go. So he's targeting Mary. Next portion.
We open with a gorgeous shot of Dark Lord Jeff hanging upside down from a tree in his bat form, staring directly into the camera. We know he is there. This is a night shot, by the way. We know he's there to spy on the players in his bat form, to view their miseries. And once again, for the second week in a row, Dark Lord Jeff in bat form was my creature of the week. I love that he takes bat form so often. Seemingly every time we see the show now, he's there as a bat.
Yeah, I think Club Condo is what he calls his true form.
His cave. Club Condo is where him and all the other bats go to hang out and eat their fruit.
That's why he dances like that.
Yeah. I want to see that bat look right into the camera and be like, hey, everybody, it's me, Jeff Probst, just hanging around in my true bat form. Just let you know, if you've thought about signing up for Survivor, now you can also play the board game at home in your bat form as well. Whatever cave you live in, now there's a Survivor board game for that.
Oh, my God.
The tribe is sleeping. Suspenseful music. Eva ITMs a reminder about her nacho scroll that requires her to sneak out of camp to get the full advantage. We see her creep through the camp while everyone else is sleeping. She thinks she's unseen, but this shadow figure is tracking her through. I'm like, is that a player? Is that a producer? What the hell's going on here?
They make it look like so scary.
Serial killer style. Look like a horror movie. but it's just Shaheen. He's just, oh, what's going on? And he sees her. He ITMs that in the past seasons, when somebody creeps out of camp at night, you have an opportunity usually for an advantage. And he's like, it's likely that she got that on the journey that they had last week, the Nacho Challenge. And he thinks she's going to get an advantage. Shaheen wakes up Joe. Joe gets this hilarious ITM.
I love this idea.
I woke up and Shaheen is like this wombat. He grabbed my face. He whispered in my ear that Eva left. And then he's like, I'm not worried about Eva. I trust her with my life, he says.
Bad thing to do in Survivor, IMO.
No
Eva
shit.
walks down the beach and she gets this little solo challenge where she gets a 50-50 shot at safety without power, which means you get to basically be immune from a tribal council and you can walk away so you don't get to vote.
Yeah.
And she starts with an extra vote, and if she doesn't get that, she loses the extra vote. So she decides to risk the extra vote. And she
Would you have done this? Would you have done this risk? 50-50?
Yeah, definitely.
I think so too. I agree with everything she said. The extra vote is not that powerful. It's not potentially like you would have to be at a exactly perfect mathematical standoff for that extra vote to mean anything. But the getting complete immunity from an entire tribal council to like just eject yourself from it is that's insanely powerful. Now she learns there are conditions on this only up to when there's 7 people left. So she's going to have to use it in the next 2. But I agree with her decision here.
What's that? Will she even need it? She's playing so
who
well.
Knows? It may be superfluous, but
and she
I
has
agree
the
with
idol.
this choice.
And I also agree with her next choice, which is not to take the 1/3 chance of getting an actual idol.
Yep, I agree as well. 50-50 odds, I'll take. 33% odds. That's worse. That's way worse. You just can never take that, I think, unless you are dead in the water. Unless like you must have that 33% chance come through to win or stay in the game or whatever. I just think you never take bad odds. 50-50 is like really as bad as you ever want to get, I think. And even that is dicey. Yeah. But I agree with what she did, because I think a loss in that initial thing isn't really a loss. It was kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, like you came to the beach without the extra vote anyway.
Yeah. No, it was good play by her all around. She thought this through and I think made statistically the correct decisions.
Next portion, we get day 17. Eva, Kyle, Joe, and Shaheen do a little group discuss, and Eva literally comes out and tells them about the advantage, even though she didn't tell them about it originally.
And told them about every component of it. Said, I got it in the nacho bowl. I had to go down the beach in the fire. The first thing was 2 choices. It was a 50-50 to lose my extra vote and potentially get a thing that can eject me or not. I chose to do that. I got that. Then the next thing, she even told them about the other 3 or the next tier with the 3 choices she had and said she didn't do that.
Even though that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. So she's divulging all this information, doing it honestly. And I actually, like, usually I would say this is probably a bad move, but I think it was actually a great move here because it solidified all those other people are like, oh, we can totally 100% trust her. Now, they also don't know if she's telling the exact truth here, but it's like, it seems like that wouldn't be a lie because she's divulging a massive advantage she has.
I mean, it's also a good move because Shaheen literally saw her sneaking out. So
yes, exactly. It completely diffuses that element, which she may or may not have known about. Let's be real. Like that moment where the fucking shadow Shaheen is like drifting around the camp like fucking Mike Myers and Halloween. I was like, is this acted? The shot looked acted a little bit to me. Like, I think that might have been
it was
fudged.
A producer.
I think, well, it might have been Shaheen, but I think that shot was set up. I think it was acted.
What do you mean? With Eva?
I think she knew Shaheen was awake and they were like, we need a shot of him creeping on you. Walk down the beach.
I mean, I feel like that's blasphemy in Survivor. Everyone's saying it's a completely fair game. They don't do acting or whatever.
That is 100% untrue.
But I agree. They show the shadow without showing his face, which is an odd thing.
Because they do stuff like, at the very least, they do insert shots on some of the challenges and stuff. You know what I mean? Of like a ball hitting the sand or a thing dropping or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
at the very least, they are producing some stuff. And maybe that doesn't require players always to like participate in those B-roll shoots, but they're definitely not like, this is not just real-time footage that like they cut the boring parts out of. There's shit that's set up and they are asked to do certain things for sure.
Yeah. And you see like when when Dark Lord Jeff is in voiceover explaining the challenge, you'll see one of the like the extras who go and do all the challenges beforehand, showing us how to do it.
Even when Eva went to go get her advantage in the night, and she's like, well, I could keep my advantage or I could risk it all on this 50-50 chance. They have her basically delivering a script there to explain like what is at stake and what the odds are and all of that. She's not a normal person is not like talking to themselves out loud about every little piece of minutia in it. You're just like looking at it, making a decision and picking up a fucking thing.
Right. Unless you know that you want to make good TV.
Sure.
We see Kyle ITM that he likes being teamed up with Kamilla because they have different strengths. He's social, but Kamilla can solve problems. And we get this little one-on-one between them, and Kyle gives it to her straight. David and Mary want to get you. Also, Eva has safety without power. So you're like, okay, Kyle trusts Kamilla completely.
Tells her everything.
And Kamilla goes wide-eyed when Kyle tells her about the safety without power in my
Face play of the game.
It was a great one. I almost gave that mine as well, but got beat out. Got beat out a little bit later.
Oh. We then see Kyle and Joe, and Kyle goes, I think David is taking a shot at me and Shaheen. Trouble in paradise.
And then David walks up and they immediately are like, anyway, Kamilla, we're voting for Kamilla, right? Yeah. Like that to me is the funniest shit that happens in Survivors when like two people are trying to scheme and then the person they're talking about walks up and they've got to be like, anyway, nice weather we're having here today, huh?
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny to watch them like pretend to not be talking about the person. And it has to be obvious to that person that they're fucking talking about him. Has to be.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Pretty much every time people go off, they're scheming.
Yeah.
We then get David, Eva, and Joe, and David says, there's something going on with Kamilla and Shaheen. Yeah. And Joe ITMs, I trust them. I don't know. And Joe's like, I'm straight with you all. David goes, you went back on your word. He convinced you about Chrissy. And David accusing wholesome stand-up man Joe of going back on his word was my error of the game. Joe doesn't take it kindly. You don't take kindly to this suggestion, this attack on his character. Joe's kids are watching this, David.
Ooh, a man like that.
Don't forget.
This was also my error of the game. We see what it did to David's entire... I mean, David was like easily one of the front runners of this entire season, really from day one because of his muscularity, et cetera, et cetera. He makes this one crucial error in this moment where like tensions are starting to rise. He's kind of the head of the strong six. He's got a big alliance that has mathematical superiority. If he can maintain that alliance, he's at least going to top six. Then who knows, every person for themselves, whatever. But here he says this one thing that pisses off the other very strong member of this alliance. And it's like, oh, well, fuck you then, buddy. It's unbelievably bad play to try and accuse somebody of something bad to try and get them to realign with you. It's always what's the phrase? You get more flies with honey or something like that. More bees with sugar. Whatever the fucking phrase is.
Right. Yeah.
It basically means like be nice to people and you'll get what you want. If you're mean to people, they're going to be mean to you back. And he just didn't understand this, or I don't know if like the threat he was feeling, the anxiety he's feeling in the situation got to him. I don't know why he did this, but it was a massive fucking error.
It's
just so stupid.
It's such an error because when you lose Joe, you're losing Eva as well. And David has the number one target on his back. He wins all the competitions. He is so gigantic. Like there's just, it's also unforced. Like there's no reason to do this. And Joe gets so upset. He's like, The group did, Chrissy. I never went back on my word. I never have. And we get another hilarious ITM from Joe. Survivor. God, here we go.
And we also saw David, even at this point, is like, oh, yeah, maybe I was mistaken. He even realizes when Joe has this reaction that's like, fuck you, dude. I voted with the group. I didn't change my fucking mind. David is like, oh, yeah, you're right. I must have been mistaken. He knew he screwed it up in that moment. He knew he was done. He could see something in Joe's eyes that was like, that dude just flipped on me and it was my fucking fault. He knew he screwed up. And you can see it through the rest of this episode. Darko Jeff is even commenting on like how his attitude has changed and he seems much more disheartened and blah, blah, blah. And I know it's, you know, we're going to get to this challenge in a minute that he doesn't win, but it starts here because he now knows that he has fractured this group, this strong six that he's worked so hard to keep together, to put together and to lead to this moment in the game. He himself just destroyed it with an unforced error. And he realizes it. He knows it as soon as he did it. It was hard to watch.
They've been leading all the votes. You know, they've just been taking out everyone they want to. We then see Joe ITM that he trusts Kyle, Shaheen, and Eva. I don't know about David.
Yeah,
dun, dun,
brutal.
Dun.
Brutal. He's just screwed. Then we get portion 4. We've got Eva is like swimming 200 miles off the island. I guess she's like just doing kind of what's the thing where you biathlon, pentathlon, where you swim and you run and you
Ironman?
Use a bike and all this. I don't know.
Triathlon sounds right. That sounds like biking, swimming, running.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's way out there.
I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't go in the water
Is she
at all.
fishing or
Who
just
knows?
swimming?
I wouldn't go into the water ever. I wouldn't go into the sand
You'd be the stinky
ever.
man.
I wouldn't go into the sun ever. I wouldn't go on Survivor ever. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
I can play those indoor
games. But it would
games.
be funny.
I can do a Big Brother. I could do a Traders. I could do something of this nature.
You should apply to Big Brother.
That might be
That would be
interesting.
fascinating. We see Star say she wishes she could swim as freely as Eva. And we see Coach Mitch start to give her a swimming lesson. And he gets his face in the sand to teach this woman to swim. And Star says, next time Jeff sees me, I'm going to be a swimming pro. Which is not true because they go to tribal council. We then see Joe and Kyle talk, and Kyle does some master work here. He says he kind of makes up for like, oh, I know they're probably paranoid about me. The aggressiveness was really triggering me. And we get this ITM that he was a wild child. He was so popular, so he was partying young. And Joe goes, we got the same blood.
It's a mirror PTC.
Rowdy.
It's a mirror wild child PTC that you've done these things. Kyle says he was like a young athlete and he was partying before most people were. It wound up landing him in jail for a minute. And he has this interesting ITM where he talks about even while in jail, he continued going through law school. And he's like, most people, you get put in jail while you're in law school. You don't, you give it up. But he's like, I had professors coming to give me guest lectures in prison. I was writing my essays on a computer in prison while people were watching Game of Thrones behind me. Absolutely mind-blowing. And he's like, and
Insane.
I got the best grades that semester of any semester I was in.
Absolutely insane. And you're like, okay, this must have been his Survivor application. He's like, must have talked about this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And oh yeah, his fiance brought books to jail.
Yeah.
And Joe says, my dad was in prison for a little. Mirror PTC. He's a wild child. He's got a wild dad. And
this works.
It works on Joe.
Because Joe's like, you know what? David said, I went back on my word. So they do these double PTCs. And then Joe basically says, like, I'm ready to vote David off. Without saying it overtly, he's like, David fucked up. And I don't like him no more.
I know we're fellow wild children. Let me tell you about the main thing that's bothering me.
Yeah.
And he's trying to manipulate me.
The wild child bond.
And Joe says his demeanor has changed a lot in the last 48 hours. And I love this because it's like they all made this whole pact about how they were going to be like the 4 TRR bros. and be like, we're going to do this with honor and dignity. And he goes, oh no, David's changing. So it's okay to then turn on him.
He broke
and still
the
look
code.
for TRR.
It was muscles before tussles, but he broke the code. And so now we got to eliminate him.
You got to have a code.
We see Joe here talks to Eva, and he tells her that he's uncomfortable about a few things. Eva reminds him that they're all a team, and Joe ITMs that he knows she likes David, so he's got to go in carefully. And he's like, David has created a bad environment for us, and Mary gives him a lot of pause. He's like, I know that you trust him. Where's your head at? And Eva's like, I don't want to break the team apart. Eva then ITMs, maybe she feels extra safe because of her idol and because she can't recognize lies. She then thinks if she gets spooked, it's going to break their entire team apart. And she thinks she's in the exact middle of this and people are starting to get scared. We begin portion 5.
I mean, Eva is right here. They should just keep the 6.
Of course. Of course.
When you have numbers.
Absurd. Like, it's absurd to do anything else. When you have a mathematical superiority in a game like this, where the player base determines who leaves the game every round, the adherence to mathematical superiority must be upheld at all times. There is simply no reason not to, because if you lose it, now anybody's up for a vote.
Yeah.
It's
You're putting
absurd.
yourself in danger. I mean, I get it because David is such a big target and you feel like you can't play when he's there.
Sure.
But I probably would have waited to take him out, but
same. I get it too. And you know, they bring up some things later where they're talking about like Mitch is a real nice guy and he's going to be like a player favorite. So if he makes it into the end, like the jury is probably going to give him the victory because he's so likable and all this shit. That has to play a part in this too. And so it's like getting him out, I think in terms of a long game strategy is just as important as getting David out. And they could have voted him out on this night, but now they've split the group into 4 and 4. Mitch is on one of those teams. He's got just as much mathematical power as anybody on the other team now. That's not a good place to be in if you're not on his team. I don't know. They might have fucked themselves.
I don't know. I mean, I also think like there's a bigger argument for David than Mitch because David wins all the immunity challenges.
But there's also like, I don't know like the construction of a season in terms of the challenges, like what they wind up being. But so far it seems like they have been very physical heavy. Mm-hmm. That has to change, I would imagine, soon. Like there's going to be one that's all intellect, that's all puzzle or something, you know? And then who knows? Then it's like Kamilla's going to
the
dominate.
Funky challenges.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you have to like put balls through a thing and like catch them.
Yeah, something like that. I would feel like, especially after the challenge we see in this portion, I would feel like the next challenges probably will not be like strongest person wins. Nonetheless, we get our next challenge. DL Jeff welcomes the players. Welcome to day 17 of Survivor 48. He does a British accent here. Did you catch this?
No. I was like, what are you doing?
That's the question I had for him as well. I don't know if when he was in bat form, he flew to jolly old London and had to come back.
Yeah.
I have no idea. This man tried to do a British accent. And no offense, it was about as good as yours, PaceCase.
That is so mean.
Is it?
I didn't hear this, but there's no way it could have been as good as mine.
Welcome to day 17 of Survivor 48. That was 10 times better than his.
Here's your challenge, eh? You're going to hold on this handle. You can't let the ball drop. You got to keep concentrating and then you'll get your ham and cheese Sammys. Perhaps a peach cobbler. How is that bad?
It's not. I love it. I'm just saying it's not accurate. I won't say it's bad. It's not accurate, but it's very good.
It's accurate to the flower shop girl and My Fair Lady.
Okay.
That's all I'm going for. I'm not going for
I
like
see. It's a specific
general
person.
British people.
I see. Okay. Then it's exact. Then it's very on point. 100% accuracy.
Thank you.
The British Dark Lord Jeff takes Eva's immunity necklace, then tells us about today's challenge. You're going to have to hold onto this handle, clamping a ball between a set of jaws. If you lower the handle or step off the platform, you're out. Last person left standing gets immunity. Final spot a spot in the final 8 and a reward. Back at camp, the winner is going to get ham and cheese wraps, crackers, dip, juices, and soda, and peach cobbler and chocolate covered strawberries. The way he's saying it is like sexual. Did you pick that up?
I mean, what he says next is, let's draw for spots. Get it on.
Yeah.
That's very sexual.
Dark Lord Jeff is sexualizing Survivor.
Well, Shaheen screams orgasmically at chocolate-covered strawberries. I think this is always a good thing to do, to be like, oh, Applebee's, that's my thing.
For sure.
Because then maybe someone will pick you.
You should definitely overplay these reactions. I would say drop down to the stand, shit your pants, punch yourself in the genitalia and throat. All of these are things I have not yet seen anyone do this season. I don't know if it's ever happened in Survivor, but like...
Yeah. Someone's definitely shit their pants, I bet.
Scream as loud as you can and then just do like a flying tackle straight into DL Jeff. See if you can even budge
Throw
him.
sand in everyone's eyes.
Yeah.
Just chocolate covered strawberries.
Kick everybody in the neck as hard as you can. Kill someone. I'm getting those strawberries.
Honestly, this is what Star should do, because Star knows she can't win any of the challenges. She should be trying to get the food this way.
You could sabotage the challenge itself, become so excited about the peach cobbler that you just push over the whole set, knock all the balls out.
Balls in the ocean.
Yeah. So we see what the deal is. There is this like almost a curl bar that has like a tension wire on it, and you have to kind of like do a half curl and just hold it there. And if you let it dip down even a centimeter or you move, this thing above you drops and a ball rolls out of it. Now, I have a million questions about this. Mm-hmm. How far can that bar be raised? Like if you really pull on it, can you push it up over your head, or does that tension wire not go that far?
I'm guessing it must not go that far, because then couldn't you just sit on it?
Sit under it. You could place it like on the back of your shoulders and just stand there. You have to pull the bar up, not push it down.
But couldn't you just like sit under the bar with it on your back?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Shaheen, it looked like at one point tried to do that. He squatted down and kind of pushed it up. Thing. And that is literally all you would ever want to do is get under the bar, if your body like fits in it correctly, to keep that thing up and just sit there. Then you don't have to hold anything. Then it has nothing to do with strength.
Does not seem like a good challenge for me.
I just don't understand like what was going on here. And because they're all like holding it in this kind of like half curl. Like, can you curl it all the way up and just hold it up here? That would be much easier. Can you press it up like this? Can you press it behind your shoulders? Nobody was doing any of this stuff. So I guess those things are not legal. I don't know. I was just confused by what the hell's going on here.
I don't know how to answer that. Well, First out is Star. Mary, Kamilla. Dark Lord Jeff calls out how Mitch is the only one still in who's never won. Mitch is out.
Yeah, immediately curses him.
Yeah. Like often when he calls attention to the person, they get out. Yeah. Shaheen is doing some little free play antics. I'm so lucky I work out more than these guys. He's doing yoga. He's out. David is super musk and Vask. His little cannonballs popping out. And then Kyle is out, and it's Joe versus David again. And Dark Lord Jeff says this is about endurance and concentration. We're 17 minutes in. We get this weird discussion of jaws. Have you ever heard the term jawing? He's jawing
to mean
off.
Talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never heard this until last night.
I thought they were talking about...
They were talking about food.
Yeah. Because he was talking about the jaws. DL Jeff was talking about the jaws in the challenge. The metal thing that's holding the ball up, as he referred to it as a jaws type mechanism. He's talking about that. But then the players are like, that's our jaws. We're hungry.
Mitch reminds us he still hasn't had a snack. Good play.
Yeah. And we see also, it's interesting here that David's ball has not moved since the beginning of the challenge, nor have his arms. Nothing has changed. Joe the whole time is like, oh, whoa, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's like, his ball's flying around. He's got to catch it and put it back in the thing. He's doing the most to make it look like he's going to lose this thing. His ball is like centimeters from dropping every time we look at it. He's switching hands. He's shaking, sweat's pouring off his knuckles. David like yawning, like, well, whatever, no big deal. And then David lets his thing move a centimeter. The ball starts to lurch. He pulls it back up, but it's too much for him, I guess. He loses his balance, steps off the platform. Joe wins. And in this surprise victory, Joe delivers a full eye aperture look of shocked elation at the surprise that came from this come behind victory. And it was my
Pace play of the game.
Joe winning this challenge against a real David and Goliath type situation was my play of the game. Play of the game.
Joe winning this challenge was also my play of the game. It was my play of the game, my face play of the game.
Wowie.
Primarily because what is going to happen in this tribal council cannot happen unless Joe wins this challenge in this moment. And it also, the degree of difficulty that he had to overcome in this, again, that ball's fucking rolling around. He's having to reposition. He's having to do all this shit. Like at that point, when any other player got to the point where their ball had moved even a couple of inches, it was fucking done. This guy held on the whole damn time. He was shaking. His body was racked with pain, but he knew how important this victory was going to be for whatever his team is going to be, whether it's the strong six, whether it's him and Eva and whoever else decides to be part of that team. He knew he had to win this. And I feel like he just willed it to become true.
His character was called into question by David. It was a moralistic victory for him as well.
Exactly.
And
Fuck
David
you,
is pissed. He rips off his headband. And Dark Lord Jeff goes, David, you're down like I've never seen before. And David goes, I should have won. I got a lot left in the tank. Not to take anything away from Joe. Another mini error. Why are you, there's no reason to do this. You just go, Joe, you did so well. I love you. Is what you should have said.
Absolutely. And David's like, I had more gas in the tank. I just made one mistake. And DL Jeff goes, sometimes one mistake can be enough to get that torch snuffed. Then he turns into a bat and flies into a nearby volcano, recharging his demonic powers. And he comes back, takes human form to stand there on the beach. And he does all of this in the blink of an eye. We can't even see it.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, not possible. He's too fast. He reminds them all, the winners, that there's cobbler and chocolate-covered strawberries. Back at the camp, Joe then gets to select 3 people to go with him. The first one he picks, and I love this play, was Mitch, who responds with full-blown tear play, thanking him. And Joe says, this was just a human-to-human play. He needed
like your
this.
Song.
Yeah, human to human. I wrote that song. Human. Chad K.
And then Joe picks Shaheen for how he orgasmed at the chocolate strawberries, and then his buddy Eva.
I think the Shaheen play was strategy. I think Joe was already putting together that he was going to try and eliminate David at the tribal council. He knew he had immunity, and he's like, let me get Shaheen to come with me. I can wrap that up. And if he is working with Kamilla, then he will get her and we will have the numbers and David will be gone.
Owie. I did think it's another affront to David, because David had said to him, I'll take you to the food, Joe, if you just give up.
Yeah.
And
has that ever worked? Have you ever seen that in a challenge where the person, there's like 2 people doing some physically strenuous thing and one of them's like, look, I'll let you eat the cobbler, just quit the challenge?
It has worked for like, I promise I won't vote for you, or like, people have done stuff like that. That happens in Big Brother too.
Yeah. I've seen it in Big Brother for sure. Have people in Survivor done that and then gone back on it? Like just lied?
I don't know. Probably.
Shit,
everything's happened over time. And Joe ITMs, I'm so proud as a dad. Here's to all the old dads. I still got it.
I'm not a dad, but I am old, and thank you. He says, all those young punks running around, we can still get them. We still got it. That's right, Joe. We do.
I feel like I'm an old dad too. Thanks, Joe.
What? Whole life ahead of you. Don't squander it. Portion 6 begins. The losers come back to camp. David is pissed at himself. Still, he tells Mary, I should have won. And Kyle's like, the camp is dreary. And
Mary rubs his back.
Unreal.
Sensually.
Yes. And Kyle gets this little ITM where he's like, David's sad. Mary had to console him. they looked like, I don't even want to say what they look like. They look like very close friends. And so he's insinuating basically that there's some kind of sexual tension, chemistry, consummation.
And both of them have partners. David has that girlfriend who wants 10 kids. And
he doesn't, though. He said that's his ex-girlfriend.
He has been saying girlfriend and ex-girlfriend this whole season.
He said they broke up, and he's going to try and use the $1 million, which unfortunately he ain't going to get now.
Oh, no.
He's going to try and use the $1 million to get her back.
Well, Mary has a partner too. She yelled it last episode.
Does she?
I don't know. Who knows?
Let's say you're watching this. Let's say you're watching this show, and you are a partner of David or Mary. Mm-hmm. What do you say when they first come back off the show? Are you like, what the fuck was going on there? Or are you like, oh, sorry you lost?
Good strategy, babe. Here's
you say milk. Good strategy? The first thing I'd say is like, did you see Dark Lord Jeff transform? That'd be my first question. Mary tells David,
why aren't there more shout outs to me? You should have been shouting me out every challenge, especially if you weren't going to win.
Why didn't you get one of your fellow teammates to give you a homemade stick and poke tattoo of my name across your chest or face?
Yeah.
Mary tells David they are planning something. She thinks Shaheen might have a real idol and he might use it for Kamilla. David ITMs that without immunity, you have to look at things in a different perspective. You might be on the bottom. Mary and David agree. They are on the chopping block, and David thinks they might have to go for Mitch. Mary says she's willing to die over this. I found that interesting. Verbiage.
It's giving the woman in Traders who said to better grandkids that she wasn't a traitor. Danielle.
But like, I'm also like on Survivor. This is like twice now in this episode that we've heard somebody say they would sacrifice their life over whatever decision they're making in this game. Do you think that has to do with it's the nature of Survivor? Do you think that like being out there for X amount of weeks with no food, no shelter, all this shit really does start to put you in a mindset of life and death versus like a trader's? I think
it's like so hard to trust people that you're like, when you really want to convince someone that they have your trust or whatever, you're like, look at it. I'll kill him. I'll die. Whatever you want. That's my guess. And also, this like the whole thing of like Shaheen having the idol is, I believe Kyle set that up like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he did.
It's still lingering.
Too. I know.
Hilarious.
Well, this is like where you start to see these seed plays or whatever. We'll get to it. Shaheen has some brilliant stuff happening. Star comes to Mary and David and asks if they'd vote for Shaheen. David and Mary say they should vote Mitch because they think Shaheen has the idol. Star ITMs that she knows he doesn't have the idol, but you have to vote with the group. So tonight, Mitch goes home. Cut to the cobbler feast. Mitch tells everybody he's gladly going to vote out David with them. He hasn't had the numbers or the immunity to make the move. Mitch ITMs that you don't go out in Survivor without swinging. Shaheen tells them that everybody's paranoia is getting bad. Shaheen ITMs that he's excited to go after David. It's a bigger move than Mary, but when you push too hard, people pull away. And he's like, I've been planting seeds for this to happen for a while. It started 4 days ago. We see flashback footage of him planting these seeds with Joe and Eva and Kamilla. And he's ITMing that this is key. You allow the others to see it for themselves. Plant an idea, watch it grow in the mind. A brilliant long game strategy to try and get out the most powerful player in the game, arguably.
It's so good. He even brings up, like, he has such game knowledge. He brings up this whole, it's giving Boston Rob, getting people to babysit, trying to control the whole beach. That's some colorful phrases too. If we keep all if you keep all your pets around, sooner or later they're gonna come for the owner. And then ITMs,
like, is that true?
I've been preparing for war. Let's party. I loved this whole sequence of Shaheen working his little schemes.
Yeah, he's like, David, welcome to the party. I've been here for a minute. Let's party. That analogy though about pets coming for the owner, I kind of feel it because at night Scobby does that to me.
What
comes
does he
for
do?
Me.
What do you mean?
He comes for me.
What does that mean?
It means I'll be sitting in this very room doing work late at night, and I have my feet up on this little stool that's under. It's not a stool. It's like a cat scratching post that he comes in here and uses sometimes, but I'll have my feet on it like a stool, and then he will come in and just fucking teeth right into the calf as hard as he can.
That's horrible. You should get a dog.
I came up with
they
cat
won't do shit like that.
Yeah, but dogs are like bigger and dirtier, and they require walking and touching their turds.
They're just as dirty.
This was my cat math that I came up with. Are you ready?
Okay.
Cuteness over daytime equals evilness over nighttime.
Oh my God.
I think it's accurate.
Luca is literally just like a human teddy bear.
Yeah.
24 hours a day. Daytime teddy bear, nighttime cuddly teddy bear.
Scotty is like that. During the day, he's like very sleepy and groggy, and you can get in some good facial burials and stuff like this. But at night, it's just a different story. He gets very worked up at night. There's also a female cat that's been coming around.
Chomping your legs.
That's just what he does.
Well, you should stop feeding the female cat, and then maybe Scotty would stop getting so crazy at night.
He likes her, though. He likes to look at her.
And that's worth
through the window.
Your calf blood?
Yeah, I think so. The eaters come back from their cobbler feast, and Shaheen ITMs the welcome to the party line, and then David pulls Eva, and he's saying they can't trust Shaheen and Kyle, and Eva ITMs that she trusts them. Mary and David then try to convince Eva to go for Mitch. Then they still have a strong 6. Eva ITMs that they're causing paranoia and attacking her friend. She doesn't like it. Eva tells Kyle about the idol on Kamilla theory, and Kyle tells her that he's thinking about voting for David. Eva then ITMs that her heart sank. Well, because, yeah, I know. It's like, to be able to pull this off, you've got to get basically everybody in the strong 6 to turn against David, or at least everybody but Mary.
Everybody but Mary, yeah.
Yeah. And he knows that he's got to, like, at some point, there's like, you can tiptoe around the idea, but at some point, you're going to have to directly tell these other strong players, specifically Joe and Eva, you got to do this. We got to take out one of the best players in our group. And he floats it here to her, and she's like, I don't know. But Kyle,
let me talk to Joe.
Yeah, she's like, let me talk to Joe and see where he's at. And then we see this little conversation between them, and Eva tells Joe about the David strategy. Joe's like, if you want to do it, I'm with you. And he basically corroborates with her that, like, they're going to have each other's back. It's them, ride or die. He would never betray her. She would never betray him. She ITMs that she hates having to go against her word for to vote out David. But it's everything with her is black and white. This is Tism. She trusts Mary and David, but she doesn't know if they're with her people. She thinks they're with her, but she doesn't know if they got her people's back. And so it seems that she may be open to this voting for David. And in the end of this portion, she ITMs. She's dealing with 2 hard options. The initial plan to vote out Mitch, who's the biggest threat to win based on likability. And the other option is blindsiding somebody who she trusts. But he and Mary, David, have been creating paranoia, and she thinks they need a team to accomplish anything. Huge decision to be made here. And we go into TC, Tribal Council, full moon, when Dark Lord Jeff is at his highest powers, with the moonlight shining on his beady eyes, looking into the night. Dark Lord Jeff is like, there's different types of vampires. You know what I'm saying? So there's like,
yeah, energy, true blood.
Yeah, but there's like, Dark Lord Harrison, for example, was kind of like, in my mind, he's a more like kind of elegant, sinister vampire. He's the one who's like, please come to my home. We're having a nice party and some friends over. And then you wake up in the bed with no blood.
No kidney.
No kidney, no blood, no energy.
Is he not podcasting anymore?
I don't think so. I don't know what he's doing. I don't think that shit with Merit Street Media came to be. I don't think he's making that show with Zima now. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, no.
Haven't heard anything from him. He has maybe gone to ground.
Classic vampire. Elegant vampire.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all vampires go to ground when they're threatened. You know what I mean? They go to ground. That's where they rejuvenate, regain power. Lestat did that. Anyway, I'm just saying, Dark Lord Harrison was a more elegant. I wear a suit and tie all the time. I have nice dinner parties. I'm very social. Dark Lord Jeff is a little different. He's more of a kind of bestial style vampire. Yeah. He's strong. He never ages. He's out. Yeah, exactly. He's a little more like just blood and guts kind of ferocious vampire. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, we see Cedric and Chrissy all cleaned up, our 2 jury members. Dark Lord Jeff asks Shaheen about the phases of the game, and Shaheen says, because there's so few people, we get these emotional connections, and that can shift your alliances and create paranoia. And Joe talks about strength socially. Star comes in with one of her classic one-liners, I'm looking for the cracks on the crowbar. Eva says, I feel solid. I've got a lot of trust. Friendship, friendship, friendship.
She even says, I don't feel swayed by your crowbar. She gives a little reference to Star's crowbar reference, which I thought was funny. I do think in the tribal councils, there are two kind of things happening. It's like people are trying not to say the wrong thing and like piss somebody off or give anybody any indication that they're like not on your team. But then people are also trying to say funny shit. And I love when somebody does say something funny and it gets all the other players to laugh, because it kind of cuts through that tension a little bit, and it's like, come on, you are all on a reality TV show, and that is pretty fun. And I like that there's like that little give and take at every tribal council, basically.
And once there's a jury, you're doing a performance the whole time.
Exactly.
You're trying to be as likable as possible.
Yes. Cedric and Chrissy are over there fucking eagle-eyeing everybody, because they're like, now the only power I have is how I cast my vote. And everything you do, I'm fucking watching it. And I'm sure they have had like juries in the past call out like, in tribal council number 9, you fucking made a joke I didn't like, so I'm not voting for you. I'm sure that's happened.
Probably.
You never know.
We see David talk about how he's okay with his public alliance. Shaheen says, there's risks, like if with trust, because if someone wants to take advantage of it, they can. But when you have that trust, you bottle it, you sell that shit. Mitch brings up, Mary says, well, I don't know if you should strike first. What if the other person's never going to strike?
Exactly. I'm not going to strike. Please don't strike first. I'm not striking.
No one's Chrissying here, notably, being like, I'm going to take you all down to help my score sheet.
If you don't vote me out tonight, you're all fucked. Nobody's doing that. David here is like, look, there's a strategy to being honest, and I might get voted out tonight. You never say that either. Not that it alters it, I don't think, but like, just don't give him that footage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't ever say that you might get voted out ever for any reason, I think. But he wants to prove the game can be played in more than one way. And Kamilla then says, you have to keep the jury in mind. I don't know if what you're doing is going to work with the jury. No one does. Star then laughs at how straightforward Kamilla is. And she does an impersonation of Kamilla and is like, it's cute how you're playing the game, but if you screw me over, you're not getting my vote. So Star is doing these comedy bits that just always lighten the mood. I absolutely love how she's playing this. For a floater to be basically the comedic voice of the show is fantastic. Hilarious,
completely like non-threatening. Exactly. I mean, her name got brought up once, but people weren't really considering it.
Yeah.
And we see Kamilla says, different things work on different seasons. If I was with weirder people, maybe I'd do better socially.
Or she also says a season with less muscles. I thought that was pretty funny. She found the muscularity of this season by volume to be too much.
That would be interesting. Like a season that's all like, I don't know, anti-musk, anti-vax.
I think the opposite would also be interesting. All power musk, all power vask.
Disagree.
Like a season of all CrossFit champions. I'd watch the hell out of that. I mean,
they've done like brawn versus beauty versus brains or whatever. Joe says you can only control so much. You try to stick to who you can trust. And David is knocking on wood. He's nervous.
It's so bad. Yeah, he's like, you can't discredit anything you can't disprove. And the knock felt like wood. Deal Jeff's like, how did it feel to knock that wood? Wooden stakes are one of the only things that can kill vampires. And then he fucking transforms into a shadow and disappears. Then it's time to vote. Mary's up first. We only see 2 votes, David voting for Mitch, Mitch voting for David. So we know one of them is going to be eliminated. Tally time, no advantages, no idols played. The votes are Mitch, David, Mitch, David, Mitch, David, David, David. David is gone. Holy shit. I just wrote that in all caps.
Oh shit.
Also 3 votes for Mitch. David, Mary, and who? Star?
Star?
I think probably.
I think it's Star.
I agree.
They did show us at the end, I think. And I remember being like, shattered. Oh yeah, Joe and Eva also flipped.
Yeah.
David is in such shock.
Everybody is. Mary is too.
Didn't see that coming.
Did you see when Dark Lord Jeff is tallying the votes and it starts going David heavy? Shaheen is like, he's got his hand over his mouth, just fucking eyes wide, like laughing almost. He's like, oh shit, we did it.
We did it.
This is the Strong Six. The first major alliance in season 48 of Survivor is destroyed by itself. This doesn't happen without most, if not all of the members of the Strong Six, other than David, turning on him. Unfucking believable.
It's unreal. I didn't think this was possible. I thought Mitch was going.
Yeah. So did I. They got a nice little shot of Mitch. I don't know if this was played like truthfully, chronologically in order, but there's a nice shot of Mitch after the vote is tallied where he just kind of goes, he just gives this little sly smile like, fuck you, buddy. I got you. And then we get David's exit speech in the post credits. Nothing I could do. Kyle and Shaheen flipped. There are no heroes and no villains. We all have moments where we are a hero. All have moments where we are a villain. I'm looking forward to getting some chocolate milk. And that is it. What an episode. Who was your MVP?
This is a close one for me.
Same.
For his challenge win and positioning this flip on David as a moralistic victory, Joe was my MVP.
Yeah. No, I mean, he played a strong game. It's pretty hard to deny.
Who's yours?
But Kyle was my MVP. He withstood David's 100% correct scrutiny of his secret alliance with Kamilla for 2 full episodes now, and ultimately, he was the guy going around doing the little messenger work to be like, we got to flip onto David. And he convinced, I mean, I don't know if he convinced Eva to do it, but he was there to play that PTC with Joe to get that mirror wild child PTC that got Joe to openly admit, I don't like David anymore. He said that I was dishonest. Fuck that guy. So he started that ball rolling. Then he openly tells Eva, we got to go for David. And she's like, well, let me go back to Joe. But Kyle already did the pre-work with Joe. He knows she's going to go back to him and Joe's going to be like, yep, fuck that guy. She's going to be like, yep, fuck that guy. I think all of his orchestrations, Shaheen's seed planting was important too, but not like
Shaheen
what Kyle
was my other runner up for the seed planting montage.
The seed planting was good, but I feel like Kyle was the fertilizer and the water on top of those seeds, which was like required in this moment. And I think that Kyle, I mean, David had him dead to rights. David knows exactly what he's doing with Kamilla. And it's 100%. And he's the only person seeing that seemingly. And Kyle got him out.
Yeah. And Kyle is the one who's benefiting from Kamilla staying in the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, Kyle, I think, is one of the best players this season. I've given him my MVP.
Absolutely.
I think 3 weeks in a row.
Absolutely. I think he's got a very good chance of winning because I think there are like, in my mind, it kind of goes like this. I think Joe and Eva as a duo like have a strong chance. If one of them gets knocked out, I think the other one crumbles. I think without that duo together, they're fucked. Psychologically, I mean, I think like they don't win challenges. I don't think they're thinking about the game correctly if one of them gets knocked out. And I think the other players are going to see that and specifically get one of them out to have that end.
I feel like they might be targeted, but Eva also has a lot of power. She's got the idol. She can protect both her and Joe next round.
Absolutely. And now we're getting into that part too, where it's like I was saying earlier, if all these challenges are just physical challenges, Joe and Eva now I think are like in the driver's seat. I think one of them will win every physical challenge. If it starts to be games and shit though, puzzles, whatever, You've got a lot of other players. I think Mitch is good at that. I think Kamilla's good at that. Yeah. And then they could kind of take control of the immunity game. I don't know. There's a lot of ways this could go, but I just think that Kyle, in my mind, after watching what he just did with this manipulation of basically the whole group, half in secret, half not, he's still got this alliance with Kamilla that basically no one knows about. Maybe Mary might suspect it because of what David said. Like, I just think he's doing the most kind of behind the scenes work to control the game in a way that doesn't seem obvious. Joe and Eva are like obvious. You know,
what do you think is going to happen next week?
I don't know. It's going to be a vote of 4 versus 4. Whoever gets the immunity challenge, that's going to be like maybe the kind of tie-breaking factor. I don't know. I just don't know. But I do think it's going to be, you know, these 4 players in Kyle, Joe, Eva, and who is their 4th? Shaheen.
Mary? Shaheen.
Versus
Mary, Mitch, Star, Kamilla?
Mitch. No, I guess Kamilla will be with Kyle, right?
Yeah.
So they'll have 5 against 3, but we did see in the trailer, they're like 4 against 4. Maybe that's just somebody not understanding.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, what a fucking episode. One of the big players just knocked out.
I screamed when David went home.
I did too.
Oh my
I couldn't
God.
believe it. I could not believe it. His 4 nipples, all 4 of them, get to go take a shower now. And he gets to drink as much chocolate milk as he wants at Club Condo.
It's going to be so hard for him to be quiet at the tribals. Ugh. It's going to be hilarious.
do players get reprimanded if they talk from the jury?
Yeah, they're not allowed to talk.
I hope that they give him just like a giant glass of chocolate milk every time we see him.
They should. If he doesn't come in with a glass of milk, they have messed up.
Exactly. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Dark Lord Jeff, for transforming so many times into various forms and for giving us that delicious peach cobbler. We will be back. I don't like
how you say that.
He said it that way. I'm just impersonating.
I know, but I still don't like it.
All right. I won't say it ever again. Thank you everybody for joining us. Fine. We will be back next Tuesday. Is that right? With This Week in Bachelor Nation. And we will be back immediately, even before you're listening to this. If you're on our Patreon, you will be able to watch with us for the very first time Casa Gore. Me and PaceCase both are about to watch the first episode, maybe 2, but at least 1 of Battle Camp on Netflix, which is a bunch of the Netflix reality universe stars from Love is Blind, Too Hot to Handle, The Circle, all their big shows. Selling the OC. All these players are playing in a third wave style show called Battle Camp, where they go to basically like a summer camp and play a bunch of games against each other for, I believe, $250,000. We're going to check out the first episode of that literally as soon as we stop this recording. And that will be on our Patreon, patreon.com/Game of Roses. You can watch the whole season with us. We're going to try and get all 10 episodes, which came out today, done by sometime next week.
No promises. Casa Gore. We promise the first episode will be out tomorrow.
All right.
But yeah, this is Clues and I. We've been doing our palapas, our corners separately. Casa Gore. It's going to be both of us. See how it goes.
We hope you'll join us.
Praise be Dark Lord Jeff.
Please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast. Please get a friend to listen to us. And then please rate this podcast. Please review this podcast.